All right. So, once again, I would like to welcome all the participants who are currently joined in and all those who will be joining in later. Uh, as you all know that it's 12-week journey wherein every week we try and meet. Obviously, we meet every week on Saturday, which is the weekend, and we meet for approximately 2 hours wherein we go through what all has been done in the current week's content and in way of understanding the content I also showcase and present a set of new 10 questions and we try and discuss and figure out what the correct answers are. The idea is basically to help you uh, absorb the course content, make you aware of the different typology of the uh, questions which are present, right? So that is primarily the idea of problem solving sessions. And if you have any other questions, concern, that can also be discussed in these sessions. So these have been the primary agenda points wherein we have been conducting the sessions as of now. Uh, a little bit about me. My name is Abhishek Srivastav, and I am the TA for this particular course. And I have been the TA for this particular course since last 3 to 4 editions, which means that approximately since 2 years and 4 sessions, I've already been a part of this particular course, and I'm taking problem solving sessions. And based on that, I have modified my presentations after each and every edition based on my learnings of how the participants are, what is their state of mind, whether they are getting time or not, and accordingly, I have made the presentation deck. Right. So this has been a learning for me as well because I'm also trying to improvise the presentation depending upon the feedback I'm getting in each edition and then improvising so that the content can be delivered in a much better way, in a way in which it is intuitive, understandable, and even if a learner is joining only one of the problem solving sessions, then also they are able to gain what all they are getting in all these sessions. And in the same alignment, what we have done is that we begin with a few set of protocol slides, which are common in all the 12 weeks. So we take some time in familiarizing all the participant with the relevant points in terms of marking criteria, in terms of how marking and evaluation is done, in terms of what are the certification criterias. Uh, because we understand that there's a possibility that a learner may join in only one of the classes. Because many times what happens is that they have their own engagement, whether it's a student or it's a professional. You can have multiple engagements in respect to your academic requirement as well as in terms of your professional requirements. So that is why all these sessions are recorded. These are made available on YouTube. And whenever you feel like you can actually access them at your own pace. If you want to revise, you can make the speed 2x and then understand it. The idea is that the entire NPTEL platform is very learner centered, right? Which basically means that the learner gets the priority, the upper hand. So even if you are unable to attend any of these sessions, all these sessions are recorded, and both the presentation as well as the session which we are conducting right now, both are uploaded at a particular place which you can easily access, and in fact you can also uh, view it at your own pace. You can slow it down, you can make it 0.5x, 1x, 2x, and likewise you can grab the maximum from it. Okay. Now my background is basically architecture. I am an architect from degree from the School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi. And after my architecture, I took up the master's course of industrial design, that too from SPA Delhi. And once I had completed my master's degree, I joined various companies, including Infosys, Think Design, and then started my own company. So I was also a startup founder and director of a company which offered design services, design consultancy. And so it went for around 2 to 3 years. And then while I was doing my consultancy, at the same time, I got engaged with various design institutions. So we were taking workshops, I was teaching there. And slowly I transitioned into a design educator, wherein I taught at uh, SPA Delhi, Department of Industrial Design, and World University of Design, and UP Institute of Design in Noida, Uttar Pradesh. And so after working around 8 to 9 years, I thought that I'll just give it a little break and I'll initiate my doctoral journey, which is also called as the PhD, Doctor of Philosophy. So, being a PhD student, I have been received a fellowship called Prime Minister's Research Fellowship, which is the PMRF. It's a very prestigious fellowship, and it mandates all the fellows of this particular fellowship that you give certain time in imparting and sharing your knowledge to other students. It could be going physically and transferring it, or you can do it by taking online classes. So NPTEL gives us that flexibility of being at our place of convenience and then conduct the classes, right? So that is a very little brief about me. And if there is anyone who would want to introduce themselves, you're most welcome. In all the sessions, I invite at least few learners want to introduce themselves. Uh, Maybe your name, what is your profession, what is your motivation to join in. Anybody who would like to speak are most welcome. We don't have many learners right now. I mean, maybe what I'll do is I'll just call out the names which I am able to see, and if anybody gets interested to speak, I think it will be open to them. All right. Sujal Pokale, if you want to speak a little about yourself, Sujal. Then we have Om Shankar. So I'll just call out the names just in case you are there, you want to speak. Just one line of introduction. That's it. I'm not expecting much. Okay, so don't worry about it. Om Shankar, Parsha Patil, Shreyash, Shravani, and Mr. Ulhas Kumar.
Hello,
Hello, sir.
uh, myself, Dr. Ullas Kumar Gokhale. I am actually professor in engineering college,
Okay, so sir, which college?
Tharva College of Engineering,
All right, sir.
Mumbai.
All right. So,
So
sir,
I joined.
yes, sir.
Hmm,
Please go ahead.
I am actually learning artificial intelligence
Okay,
and other machine learning courses, and I've been in the part of IIC, that is Institute Innovation Cell.
correct, sir.
So that's why I joined this course. I already completed some of the courses by uh, Dr. Chakravarti,
Nice,
that
sir.
is
Nice.
innovation and design.
Correct, sir. Innovation by design. Yes.
Yeah, and this is my third course with him.
Very motivating, sir. I mean, thank you so much for introducing yourself and letting us know that even being a professor, I think you are learning a lot many things. It is something which I think all the learners can also learn, and even I will learn because
Yes, yes. I'm now. My age is 59. I'm.
amazing,
Yes,
amazing,
yes.
sir, amazing.
Thank you, thank you.
Very appreciable, sir. Thank you for speaking up and telling us about yourself. So a big thanks to you, and I think it's a great motivation that learning never stops. Whichever age you are in, I think anybody can learn, and obviously with advancing technologies, if we need to be in pace with what is being happening in the industry, and if we want to impart that knowledge to our students, it's always good to keep on learning. And I think NPTEL also gives a amazing platform wherein you can learn at your own pace, at your own time, and derive the maximum out. Okay. So with that, I will share my screen and we'll start our presentation today. So once again, I welcome all the participants who are here to the third week of this 12-week series. The course is Understanding Incubation and Entrepreneurship, and the course instructor and curator is Professor P.K. Chakravarti, sir. And as we are meeting for the third week, we'll be discussing about the week three content, and we'll also have few questions which will be related to the week three, and we'll try to understand the correct answers through the validation from the content which has been shared. So, like I said, we begin with the protocol slide, and we'll take a few minutes to understand that set of protocol slides. So you can sit back and relax if you've already attended any of the previous sessions. If not, if you're joining in for the very first time, I think it is very, very significant for you. So please, let's try to listen through this particular set of protocol slides, and then we'll arrive upon at our set of 10 questions. All right. So live sessions are basically there to help you in the current run of course, and we will be discussing and solving the week specific assignments. Week specific assignment means currently the week three content is out. Obviously, the week four content is also released a couple of days back, but we'll be discussing week three right now, and we'll also be including a set of 10 questions which are different from those of live assignments, because the live assignments questions are basically to help you evaluate, right? However, these set of 10 questions which we do, these are basically for understanding. Okay, we are not there to evaluate you. It is primarily to understand how much you have absorbed the content, how much you are able to apply the learnings from that content. Okay, the live assignments, which are weekly quizzes available on the NPTEL portal, are there for your evaluation, because the marking here will be considered for the certification. Okay, so since we need to be certified as well after the course is complete, so for that perspective, these live assignments are there, and we will not be taking up those questions. Okay. Some of you might think that, okay, then how will we know the answers of the questions? So I think those who have been regular in terms of submitting the assignment, so after the deadline is over, after the deadline is over, the solution set is released. Okay. So when you again visit your assignment one and two, you'll be able to see the correct answers and the wrong answers. Everything will be visible, right? So till the time assignment is not over, you won't be able to see the correct ones. But once the deadline is over, right? The deadline is very important. Then you will be able to see the solutions of that. Okay. So we respond to queries and questions. There are various ways of asking queries and questions, and we'll be discussing about that as well. We also do a content recap of the ongoing week. It is something which I have introduced based on my past experiences, because I realized that many a times the learners were not attending these problem solving sessions, or they were not able to engage better because they had not seen the week specific content. Okay. They were missing out on the week specific content, and then hence they were not willingly participating in the problem solving sessions. So then came the idea that, okay, let's have a content recap. Now, content recap is basically a visual summary. It's a visual summary of the content or the week specific content. Okay, this is very critical. We are not talking about right from starting till the end. We are just talking about the week specific content. So we do a visual summary, which is basically a snapshot journey. I think everybody understand what we are trying to say. Snapshot journey means we take small snippets of the video content which has been offered and we place it and we just run it. I mean, it's a very quick run through of what has been done in that particular week. So since images are better to recall, so it gives a better recall value. And you also, regain that, okay, this was taught, this was covered. So even if you have gone through the content maybe like 3, 4 days back, this will actually brush up the course content and it will also help you in our set of 10 questions, okay, which we are asking in each and every session. Right. So during the live session, we expect something from the learners. We expect all of you to please keep your mic on mute. The idea is that we want to record these sessions with minimal disturbances, and these recordings are basically uploaded on YouTube as well. Okay, so that is also one of the reasons because of which we try and request everybody to please keep your mic on mute. Obviously, when there is a question or whenever you have a query, you can unmute and speak up. That is perfectly fine, especially in the case of set of 10 questions. Okay. In that case, you can very well unmute and speak, or you can also utilize the chat feature, messages feature of Gmeet. There also, you can ask a question, you can post it, or you can respond to the various questions through A, B, C, or D, right? And apart from that, if you have questions during the week, it's best to utilize the discussion forum capability. It's again a very interesting offering from the NPTEL platform. So if you see here, there is a tab which says ask a question. And once you click here, you will be able to see the Google groups and you can post the question. And now it's interesting because a lot of people are connected to it. You have the NPTEL team members, you have the TAs, and you have the learners, all the registered learners. Okay. So the moment a query is raised, all three of us get notified. And once you are replied to the question, if we reply all, then again, all the stakeholders will be informed, right? So again, I would say that utilize this capability as much as possible because there could be a question which is there in your mind and as well in the mind of other learners, and they might not be asking, but then you can take the initiative, you can ask the question, and it will be something which is beneficial for all, right? This is how your NPTEL platform looks like. It has various tabs which you can click and explore. Specifically, the left hand side tab is critical because it is where you get to register for your examination, right? And then you have the week wise content. So all the presentations, like I said, are being recorded, both in terms of video recording as well as the PDF recording. So the video recording is uploaded here, which is my YouTube channel, and the PDFs are uploaded here, which is the Google Share Drive. Now, again, it is not something which we are doing from our wish. It is basically a mandate given to us by the NPTEL that the recordings of this session need to be available on YouTube, and that is why we are uploading it. Okay. Like I mentioned in the previous slide, on the left widget, you get to see all your content. So if you see week 1 to week 4 content must be available for you. And you would have started seeing the problem solving sessions. Okay. So when you click here, it will lead you open up this particular link. On the click of it, again, it will take you to a page will say click here. And if you click here, it will lead you to a spreadsheet. And in that spreadsheet, you will be having week wise content and YouTube links will be available for each week. Week 1, week 2, YouTube link will be there, and then a common drive wherein you will have the PDF files. So, like we were talking about learning at self-paced, this is where you can actually see all the previous sessions, and you can then figure it out. Okay. So this is the course preview. The course name is Understanding Incubation and Entrepreneurship. The instructor and curator of the course is Professor V.K. Chakravarti sir, who was a part of the IDC School of Design at IIT Bombay. And he was also heading the DIC there, which is the Design and Innovation Center. Now he is taking care of the School of Design at the Mahindra University. So he's the founding head there, and he has been playing a critical role in setting up School of Design at the Mahindra University. It is in Hyderabad. Okay. The overall course run is 12 weeks, and the week three assignment deadline is 13th of August. So there is still few days left. If you have not submitted, you can submit it at multiple number of times until the deadline is over. Until the deadline is over. And many of the times the learners are not aware, but so I'm telling you once again that uh, till 13th of August, you can resubmit your quizzes. By quizzes, I mean your weekly quiz. So you can resubmit it multiple number of times till the deadline is over. Once the deadline is bypassed, then you won't be able to resubmit it. So yet again, another feature wherein NPTEL is very, very learner centric and you can utilize this as well. So the final examination date as of now is 26th of October, and it will be happening and conducted in either the pre-lunch session or the post-lunch session at a venue which is provided by you in terms of your proximity to the center. And all these details will be provided to you in the hall ticket, which will be released 1 week prior to your examination. Okay, so don't worry right now. Just a week prior, the hall ticket will be released, and you can fetch and understand how these details say. Now here's another tab which is important for you, which is the progress tab. This particular tab. Okay. If you click on this particular tab, you will be able to see your progress, both in terms of the content you have consumed in and in terms of assessment scores. Okay. So the blue part indicates the content you have gone through, and the remaining gray part indicates that this much content is remaining. So this basically is about how much content you are absorbing, you're understanding, you're reviewing, right? And then comes the assessment scores, wherein you will have the scores from week one, week two, week three. As and when the deadlines are over, the scores are reflected here, right? So I would suggest that please keep visiting your progress, because that is also critical in terms of your certification. Okay. And it gives you an overall percentage of how much content and course progress has been made. Now, this is about the certification. So the course is free to enroll and learn from. Okay, so if you don't want a certificate, you can go through the entire content without any cost. Okay, but if you need a certificate which validates that yes, you have gone through the content and you have actually passed the examinations, you will need a certificate which will basically require an examination and a registration fee. So this is the fee which will be applicable if you had registered before August 11. The registration will go on till 15th of August, but with a late fee. Also, if you belong to any of the two categories mentioned here, you will be applicable for a 50% fee waiver. So you'll have to upload the relevant certificates in order to be eligible for that 50% fee waiver. Okay. So here comes the first important step, which is the criteria to gain a certificate. I would request you to please go through it. Just read it once, and then I'll explain you what we are talking. So internals are basically your weekly quizzes which are happening. It contains a weightage of 25%. External is the one which will be your final examination at a particular center and a venue. This will sum up to give you 100% marks. Now, all these have certain inherent criterias, all right, which means you have to gain greater than 10 marks out of 25, 30 out of 75 in order to have out of 100. Okay. Now let's take different scenarios in order to understand the criteria. For example, you scored 20 here and you scored 25 here. Your overall score is 45. Will you get a certificate? No, because you are meeting this criteria, but you are failing on this criteria, which will mean that you will not get the certificate, although you are meeting this criteria as well. Another scenario is you got 5 marks here, and here you performed really well. You got 50 marks. Your overall score is 55. Will you get a certificate? No, because you're failing in this particular criteria, although you're passing here and here. Okay. In both the cases, you will not get the certificate, which is why all the internals, all the weekly quizzes are important, and so is the final examination, which is the external, so that you can easily cross the 40% criteria. Right? So take all these weekly quizzes sincerely, and obviously, since the final examination is a venue-based examination, where will you go? You'll be going. It will be something which is similar to your class 10th or 12th board examinations or university examinations, which are conducted at a particular center. Okay. So this is how we have progressed from week one to week two to week three. We started with the introduction to entrepreneurship, then the term called evidence-based entrepreneurship coined by GTC Gopal Krishna Deshpande Center, and then the reasons why startups are failing, the mistakes by startups, and then journey of Mr. Dinoj. Week two was about hand holding for entrepreneurship. We saw the journey of Mustafa from the IT battery industry, and then we had three panelists, Anurag, Amit, and Mayuri, all who were part of GTC programs. And then comes week three, which has the content including around methodology for innovation. So Jakku's 7C, or the seven concerns, which he basically shares, team building, and then problem statement presentations by the students of IIT Hyderabad. Yes. There is also ALM. By ALM, we mean additional learning material. So if you're interested, you get time, I would suggest that you please go through the ALM content. It will help you gain more understanding about what we are discussing. Okay. So these are the two typology of questions which will be you'll be frequently seeing in your uh, weekly quizzes, as well as in the set of 10 questions which I am presenting. Uh, the first one will be a radio button question, or what you can see is a circular type of buttons, in which only one correct answer will be there, single correct answer. The other typology is square based buttons, wherein you have multiple correct answers. So in this case, what paratha do you want? I can select any one of them. So it depends on my choice. But there in the question, you'll have to write the answer based on your understanding of the content and what is the correct answer. Okay. However, here, what you want in your burger is my choice. I can select one, I can select two, or I can select three. And in fact, if I want, I can select all four. So it depends on the responses. You can select as many number as possible, given the fact that they are the correct ones. Because if you do select the correct ones, you will be penalized. Okay. And I'll show you how. So this is another example of marking of multiple choice question. And I would suggest that you please go through this, and then I'll take an example and I'll help you explain this. Take a minute, please read it, and we'll discuss this. All right, so let's take one example and quickly understand what we are talking about. Um, okay, so the question is, which among the following are ice cream brands? Okay, you need to tell me which of the following are ice cream brands. The options are A. Amul, B. Vadilal, C. MDH, and D. Mother Dairy. So let's see if you are able to utilize the functionality. So please write the correct answers in the chat box, and then we'll understand what we are trying to explain in this particular slide. Okay. So you need to tell, you can mark the options and please tell us which among the following are the ice cream brands. Okay. Please utilize the in call messages feature and write in what are the correct responses of it. Okay. Very well said. A, B, and D. Um, so Amul and Mother Dairy, if you see, both are dairy brands, and they, apart from ice creams, they also have a lot many dairy products. This includes paneer, curd, various drinks, and things like that, beverages. MDH is related to spices, masalas. Okay. So scenario one is that if you select A, B, and D, and then you submit, you'll get full marks. All right. Scenario two is if at least one incorrect answer has been chosen, then no marks, which means if you select A, B, and C, if you select B, C, and D, if you select A, C, and D, so since each of them are having C, which is the incorrect response, no marks will be given. However, scenario three says that if you select, for example, A and B and submit, if you selected B and D and submitted, if you selected A and D and submitted, or if you selected A, B, or D and then submitted, in all these scenarios, you will get some proportional marks. Okay, so for two choices, you might get around 0.66, and for one choice, you might get 0.33. Okay. So depending upon how many answers you are selecting and whether you're choosing the right ones, you might get proportional marks. Okay. So this is very, very critical because many a times we get confused with the choices offered, and the best approach is to make a thoughtful choice of the correct answer. So well done. All right. This is more or less a chart which depicts our learners who were there. So this is in the order of the maximum duration you have stayed in the session. So we in the previous session we had Darshil Doshi, we had Parshav Patil, Om Shankar, Saurav Chaudhary, Parth Purushottam, Prithvi Mujumdar, and Sayoni Roy, who were there for the maximum duration. And so like this is it's a 2 hours thing, and so these were the participants who were there for the maximum number of duration. Okay, so a big congratulations to you from my end because I know the it's a weekend. You have got lot many engagements, but still you managed to join in and give your time and then and also participate in the problem solving sessions. Set of 10 questions. Okay, so now we are beginning the content recap, and I would like you to, if you, even if you have gone through the content very recently, I would like you to please sit back, relax, just go through what we are discussing, because there could be a question from these particular slides, and it might help you in terms of responding. Right. So the content covered innovation, team building, and problem statement. And there were three YouTube videos. The first one was taken up by Professor V.K. Chakravarti sir on methodology of innovation. Then it was Mr. Rupesh who was talking about the team building. Okay, so Chakravarti, and then finally defining the problem statement where both of them were present. So the students are presenting their team composition and their problem statement, and both are basically commenting upon. All right. So Professor Chakrabarti talked about the Chakku's seven C's or the seven concerns, which he calls them in terms of the approach which needs to be followed in a project. So he starts by giving an example of how Netflix disrupted the entire ecosystem, what was their offering, and how they breached into the huge market segment. All right. Ecosystem and environment around you can push you to innovation and entrepreneurship. It's very, very critical and very important. Then I mentioned. So once they were particularly in the market reach, they started creating a lot of new aspects of creating film series and then building algorithms to give and suggest the content which might be liked by the audiences. So even in Hotstar and now other apps, if you see Geo Hotstar, right, Amazon Prime, so it considers your history of view content, and it also suggests that okay, since you have seen this, probably you will like this as well. So what is happening? They are using all AI based models, algorithm models, and machine learning based models to understand the consumption of the content type, what type of content you are actually viewing it, and then accordingly using AI ML models, it will suggest you other videos, series, or whatever in their platform. I think everybody will correlate if you have gone through Geo Hotstar, Amazon Prime, Z5, all these follow these kind of algorithms wherein whatever you are watching, on the basis of it, it will start recommending you certain more series, certain movies, things like that. All right. In fact, it is not restricted to these. I mean, even in YouTube and Reels, this thing, Instagram, all these have been integrated. So, what type of content you are viewing, accordingly, it start telling the same kind of things. Okay. So, here is Professor Chakravarti. He is a professor currently at IIT Bombay, and as I said, currently he is at the Mahindra University, and he is setting up the School of Design there. Earlier, he was at IDDC, ID Delhi. So now IDDC has been converted into the Department of Design. So before Department of Design, it was basically Industrial Design Center, something like that, ITDC. So now it has been made into a Department of Design. And then he was working at the L&T. Okay. He was a principal designer and he was around for 6 years there. Okay. Now he also talked about a very interesting product which one of their students from IDC, IT Bombay had came up with and which also got awarded by the president. It was the vein tracer, which could identify the veins easily during the vein puncture procedures, right? So it is especially useful for small children, obese patients, and dark skin, wherein identifications of veins are pretty much difficult. Another example which they gave was the bottle design, which was a project taken up by Devanshi Saxena. She was also a student, and this is basically a storyboard. What we call it in design, it's a storyboard, which basically conveys. So what you see here, it looks like a comic strip, right? It looks like a comic strip, but it is actually the term used as storyboarding, wherein the entire use case of how a product is used can be visualized with illustrations and text in order to give a better understanding of the entire product. Okay, so if you have written this entire content, it might have been very, very challenging for one to comprehend. But now, since it is complemented with images and very few text, it will be very easy to comprehend what we are talking about, what is the scenario, in which scenario the product will be used, and how it will be used. Now, so the entire thing can be very easily understood in 10 steps. Now, just imagine this entire content in textual format, top to bottom, rather than, putting the effort to read with no images, probably nobody would want to read it, right? So that is the power of imagery. That is the power of how through storyboarding you can actually develop the context. And even the people who are non-designers, who are not from the design background, for them also it is very, very convenient presentation mode wherein you can show the entire screen flow. So even a layman will understand what is happening by looking at this. Then comes a very interesting study of the solar oven, which again was taken up by one of the uh, IDC students called Mr. Avinash as an academic project. And it was very beautiful example of collaborative design wherein domains from engineering, energy sciences, material sciences, and polymer sciences all came together uh, for this particular project in terms of heat retention, in terms of various kind of coatings required, and the plastics involved. So this is Mr. Avinash, and he also presented at FINE, which is the Festival of Innovation at Rashtrapati Bhavan. Then came another interesting project called the Palki project. It was basically for the Vaishno Devi. So this is at Katra, Jammu. Many of you might have visited it, or if not visited, you might be aware of. So why we need a palki? Now, palki is basically an apparatus wherein a person can actually sit, right? So, so especially the elderly or those who have problem with walking, or they can actually sit. It is basically carried by a total group of four people, who walk being in sync one at a time, and that is how the palki is taken. Now it's a very hilly terrain. I must say it's not a very easy job because you have to go up and down 14 kilometers, which is basically around 28 kilometers of journey with sharp turns. So it requires a lot of skilled workers to handle this particular palki. Okay. So again, it was a collaborative project between the government of India, Mata Vaishno Devi Shrine Board in Katra, and then IDC School of Design and Niti. Now, Niti is now become IIM Mumbai. Okay. Interestingly, IIT Bombay and Niti campuses are very close by. Okay. They're very close by. So I happened to attend a conference in Meethi, and I was staying in IT Bombay, and it is just a walking distance through one of the gates, right? So they both partnered along with these two entities to work upon the Palki project for Vaishno Devi. And then comes a few projects which Professor Chakravarti talks about. It is basically the projects which the student have taken up as a class assignment, wherein they did helmet design for various types of users. And then comes this particular aspect of content recap, wherein, if you get time, I would suggest please go through these three PDFs. Uh, it talks about more detailed story and information about how they designed the Vaishno Devi Palki. And there are a few PDFs along with the study on Netflix of how they managed to go through. There is another story of two IITians, which is the Animal. You see the name? It is Animal. It's basically a matchmaking platform, or rather an online marketplace which is for trading the cattle. Okay, so these two were the ITNs who came up with this particular idea, having their roots in Haryana and Madhya Pradesh, primarily in Haryana, probably, and how they came up with this idea and how they raised a huge amount of money, and with a very successful app where people can actually buy cows, buffaloes through a app. Okay, so it was basically a mobile app used for trading of cattle. All right. All right. So now we have concluded the content recap, and what we usually do is we take a 5 to 7 minutes break between the content recap and set up 10 questions. So because continuous and prolonged sitting is also not good for health. So I prefer that, we take this 5 minute break, just stretch it around, drink water, and come back, and then we will proceed with our set of 10 questions. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll put the question right in front of you. You can utilize, understand what would be the right answer, and you can post in the in call text message, right? And meanwhile, we'll take a quick break, and we'll get back. Okay. And just mic on mute. So welcome back. I assume all of you are back, and let's begin our set of 10 questions. Great. So I think my screen is already shared. I'll open up the set of 10 questions. Yes. All right. So what you need to do is you need to read the question and you need to write in through in-call messages what are the correct answers. Right? Sorry. Okay. So the first question goes like this. Let me read it out. Okay. Complete the following sentence said by Professor V. K. Chakrabarty in Lecture 3, Methodology for Innovation. Okay. Innovation methodology helps in coming up with solutions which can, this is the first blank, a large number of users and get dash customers. Okay. So there are two blanks in it. Again, if you see, it's a fill in the blanks, but then we have utilized the single correct choice questions. You have to tell me which the following answers. We have got one vote for option A as of now. All right. I would invite others also to please join in. So, innovation methodology helps in coming up with solutions which can either delight a large number of users and get potential customers, or satisfy a large number of users and get international customers, which can target a large number of customers and get domestic customers, and then which can cater a large number of users and get few customers. Okay. All right, Gokhale sir, thank you for your response. I would invite others also to please join in, pitch in, and let us know what do you think is the correct answer. Like sir has also messaged in, you can also text in your correct responses. Uh, but meanwhile, let us try to understand the different options which are given. Okay, because many a times, even if you are not aware of the correct answer, the options many a times can help you deduce what would be the right answer. Okay. Now let's start from the bottom. It says which can cater a large number of users and get few customers. Now, as a startup or as a business, why would you want few customers? You would want more customers, right? For a business to flourish, you would want more customers, है ना? जितना ज्यादा लोग आएंगे उतना ज्यादा आपका प्रोडक्ट बिकेगा. You'll get more profit margins, you'll be able to sustain more in the market, right? You need more customers. Okay, so this is not the correct answer. Yes. Then comes which can target a large number of users and get domestic customers or international customers. Now, as a business, I mean, you would want your customer base to increase, right? If you are a business entity, if you are a startup, you want your customer base to increase, whether it is domestic audience, whether it is international audience. It can comprise of both domestic, international. It depends on what kind of product or service you are having. It can include both of them. So that also doesn't fit in well, right? Because my aim as a startup is to have my customer base increased, enhanced. Okay, whether it is domestic, whether it is international, it is fine for me. I want people to buy my product or to use my services, right? So by the given options, we can deduce that it would be probably to delight a number of users and get potential customers, right? Let's do the screen validation. Innovation methodology, new solutions which can benefit and delight large number of users. Okay, the innovation methodology helps us come up with solutions which can delight a large number of users and get potential customers. So if you see, this is our first blank, which is the delight and large number of users and get potential customers. Okay, this is the blank too. So rightly said by Gokhale sir, the correct answer is option A, which can delight a large number of users and get potential customers. Very well done. Okay. Let's just highlight it. Okay. Okay. Now let's proceed to our second question. Which of the following aspects does the innovation process showcases as mentioned by Professor Chakravarti? So you need to tell me which among the following aspect does innovation process showcase? Is it the empathy? Is it effortless workflow? Is it constant interaction with the users? Or is it effective collaboration? Now, if you see the choices and the box size, it is the box shape is square, which means there are multiple correct answers, right? So there are multiple correct answers. You need to tell me which aspects does the innovation process showcase as informed by Professor Chakravarti. Take your time. Just try to recall the content which has been provided and let me know the correct answer. We are talking about the aspects. Okay. What are the aspects of innovation process showcase? The options are empathy, effortless workflow, constant interaction with the users, and effective collaboration. We've got few votes. We have got votes for option A, option C, and option D. Interesting. Anyone else who would like to join in to reply to this question? Aspects of the innovation process showcase as mentioned by Professor Chakravarti in the lecture 3, whether it is empathy, effortless workflow, constant interaction with the users. यानी कि the people who are using our products, you are in continuous loop with them. There is a continuous dialogue with them and effective collaborations. You are working in your teams, you're talking to your stakeholders, vendors, and all those people who are involved in your project. You are empathizing with your users, your potential customers, trying to understand their needs, their requirement, and having an effortless workflow. So, with reduced effort on the workflow, you are able to make it an aspect of the innovation showcase. Okay. Let's do the screen validation for this. So this is the innovation process. There is empathy, meticulous effort. So effort is required. It is not about being effortless workflow. There's a huge amount of effort is required. You need constant interaction with the users and effective collaboration. Okay. The lecture showcases how the innovation process requires empathy, meticulous effort, constant interaction with the users, and effective collaboration. Okay. So, as it has been rightly pointed out, the correct answers are empathy, constant interaction with the users, and effective collaboration. Now, it is important to know that if there would have been an option of meticulous effort, that would also probably would happen the correct answer. Okay, but here it was effortless workflow, so it's not the correct answer. All right. So very well done, Gokli sir. We have got A, C, and D as the correct answers, as you have rightly pointed it out. Let's proceed to our third question. If innovation needs to be implemented, what are the two ways to achieve it as suggested by Professor Chakravarti in Methodology for Innovation? Take it to the established industry, submit it to the government, take it forward by creating a startup, and get a degree in innovation. Okay. Let me reiterate the question. वो कौन से दो प्रमुख तरीके हैं as suggested by Professor Chakravarti? Take it to the established industry. मतलब एक established industry who is having good experience. It is not a new entity. It is a matured company which has everything sorted out. Submit it to the government. आप सरकार को समर्पित कर दे दे उनको कि भाई यू टेक केयर ऑफ दिस. टेक इट फॉरवर्ड बाय क्रिएटिंग अ स्टार्टअप. आप अपना खुद की एक बिजनेस शुरू करें, खुद का एक स्टार्टअप शुरू करें, या फिर आप एक डिग्री इन इनोवेशन, एक उपाधि, आप एक डिग्री आपने इनोवेशन के कोर्स की. ओके. सो यू हैव टू टेल अस two ways. Now it is also giving you a very good hint. Okay, although there are four options here, but the question says what are the two ways. So you know now that there are only two correct answers. Okay, sometimes the question also gives you the 50-50 choice, and you've got that. Okay, so there is a 50-50 chance. There would be two correct answers. Among the four, there are two correct answers. There will not be three, there will not be four, or there will not be one. There will be two correct answers. Okay? You have to tell what are the two ways to implement. Sure. Take it to the established industry जो ऑलरेडी पहले से ही एक matured एक established industry आप उनके पास लेके जाएं. You take it to the government. You take it forward by creating a startup. Whatever idea you have उसको आप startup में ले आए, or you get a degree in innovation. All right. We have got votes again. We have got one vote for option A, one vote for option C. All right. Anyone else who would want to tell us what could be the answers? Okay. All right. Let's see the content recap. Now, refer to the slides in the presentation where he was talking about the petrol pumps which were designed by Professor Chakravarti. If innovation has to be sort of, like implemented, you need to take it forward, or you to know that you either need to go to the industry which is already established. So take it forward, which means that you take it forward as a startup, or you go to the industry which is already working there, right? So the correct answers, as have been informed by one of our learners there, correct answer is A and C. So the two ways to achieve and implement innovation is to either take it to the established industry or take it forward by creating a startup. All right. इन दो तरीकों से आप इनोवेशन को इंप्लीमेंट कर सकते हैं. बट दिस इज अगेन एज पर व्हाट प्रोफेसर चक्रवर्ती has suggested. Okay. This is the context of the question as suggested by Professor Chakravarti. Okay. A and C, which is take it to the established industry or take it forward as a startup. All right, let's proceed further. What was the insight while working on solar oven as told by Professor V.K. Chakravarti in lecture 3, Methodology for Innovation? A. People want cheap products. People are very interested in solar cooking. People want the convenience of cooking from indoors. People want solar based rice cooker. Solar oven, if you remember, it was worked upon by Mr. Avinash, okay, who was from IT Bombay School, who earlier had taken it up as an academic project and later transformed it into a startup. Okay. The question is, what was the insight while working on solar oven? यानी कि जो सौर ऊर्जा से जो चलता है जो ओवन, सौर ऊर्जा से संचालित ओवन, ओवन, you have to tell that. What was the insight while working on solar oven? So solar oven, I think all of you understand. I mean, usually it is a box type, which is normally seen, but there are various other types. So there are vessels here wherein you keep different things, and then this basically has glass. Okay, so there are glass containers. This is glass. So the sun rays would be there. It would go here, reflect, come right onto your, and then there is glass here as well. Okay, so let me just like this. This is the solar rays coming in, and it is getting trapped here because there is a glass. It is so there is a glass here, and there is a mirror here. This is a mirror. This particular thing is a mirror. What you see here is basically a glass, basically to trap the heat so that whatever there in the container can actually be cooked upon. Okay, क्योंकि trap हो जाता है the entire solar energy, it gets trapped. If you have heard about the greenhouse effect, it is also something like that, and you might have experienced this if you own a car and if you keep it outside in the sun with all the glasses up, you will understand the amount of heat which is generated inside the car. Okay, especially in summers, right? So it utilizes the same fundamental. Okay. So what was the insight while cooking on solar oven as told by Professor Chakravarti? Was it that the people want cheap products? मतलब सस्ता सामान चाहिए हो. They want economical products. सस्ता चाहिए. Or the people are interested in solar cooking. सौर ऊर्जा से जो cooking हो रही है, जो खाना बनाया जा रहा है, people are very interested in it. Okay. People want the convenience of cooking from indoors. Indoor माने inside homes, घर के अंदर. Convenience of cooking from inside home. Because if you see, to get the energy of sun, you either need to have a terrace, need to have a garden, or a big balcony where the sun rays are coming. So that is the condition. So, but usually what happens is the kitchen is inside the house and it is not outside the house. So if you are cooking using solar, then you have to frequently go inside out to get stuff, keep it, and then bring it, and then going it. Probably that was one of the things which the people wanted, that they want to have the convenience of cooking from indoors rather than going out and coming in again. Or people wanted solar based rice cooker. So instead of cooking everything, it was specified that we'll be cooking only rice. You've got one vote, which is people want the convenience of cooking from indoors. Just wait for a while and see if anyone else would want to type in the question. All right. Let us see the content recap. So, comprehension is people want the convenience of cooking from indoors. So, when Avinash went to different users who were cooking using solar energy, he went to various houses. You see, it is mentioned that and found out that the people want the convenience of cooking from indoors. So, that the insight brought us to the product, and hence comprehension becomes very important once it is very, very critical. This is the one insight which is very, very critical. Right. He also gave an example later for the post box. Okay, which we might have a question around. Okay. So how he arrived at this insight? It was by visiting and meeting users who were cooking via solar cooker. Okay. So he went on to meet all those people who were basically using solar cooker for cooking. And he found out that the people wanted the convenience of cooking from indoors rather than frequently going out and coming in. This was what expected from the end users. And if you see here, it is very, very evident that, apart from this, he also received a lot many insights. Like here, if you see that the box type solar cooker was very inconvenient to use. It's very heavy, obviously. Then you have to the grip factor is here, it is not here, so there are not many challenges which were associated. So he went down for sketching. He created various sketches. If you see here, let me just so he came up with the idea of having something which can be fixed into the window, just like a window AC. Okay, if you remember, a window AC is also fixed like this. You just need an opening in the window and then it can be fixed. So, utilizing the same principles, he came up with the idea of having a solar one. The idea was having a double wall so that you can trap the heat, and then you can see people using it from the within, that is inside. These were coming in, it was getting trapped, and the food was getting cooked. Right? This image clearly explains the vessel there and then food being taken out. This is the window. Right? So very well said by one of our learners, Mr. Gokhe, that it is the correct answer is option C. That is, people want the convenience of cooking from indoors. Very well done, sir. Very well done. It seems we have really gone through the content in great detail. We have been very pinpoint to all the questions. And these are tricky questions. These are not easy questions. One has to be very observant in order to understand the correct answer of the question. Because somewhere in the video, you'll also see that there was a mention of solar based rice cooker as well, right? Wherein one of the businessmen from Gujarat, he suggests that let us not sell it as a solar oven, let us sell it as a solar based rice cooker, right? So even if you have heard this term, you might want to go with this choice. Okay, so what we need is very, very active listening. Okay, we need to have active listening while we are going through the content. Very, very critical. So very well said by sir. It is option C, which is people want the convenience of cooking from indoors. Right. Let's proceed further to our next question, which is about telling the correct sequence of the seven C's or the seven concerns. Okay. So what you are seeing here is various options A, B, C, and D, and you need to tell us what is the correct order, sequence, or ordering of Chakku 7C as proposed by Professor Chakravarti. So these are the options which you are having. It might take a bit of time because you need to see and arrange it. So just take a little time. Let me know the correct answer, whether it is A, B, and C or D. And your choices are here: connection, context, crafting, cause, conception, check, and comprehension. You have to tell me the correct order of. Let's check the recording is going on. Yes, it is. So the correct sequence or ordering of seven C's, Chakku's seven C's or the seven concerns. You need to tell us what is the correct order of it. So there are seven steps to it, as rightly said, the seven C's, and what would be the ordering of it. It is a little tricky, but again, there is a trick to attempt this question. If you will be following that trick, it will be very, very easy for you to crack it. Right, let's see if somebody or anyone has responded to what could be the right answer. You have to tell us the correct sequence of seven C's, seven concerns, as suggested by Professor Chakravarti. The options are in the order. There are various options. Starts with the context or the one which starts with the cause. Let's take one more minute and then probably we'll see what is the correct answer. We have got one vote for option C. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Okay, let's have a look at it. So these are the seven concerns of innovation. It starts with the cause. So one thing which is very, very important to remember is that it starts with the cause and it ends with connection. Okay. If you remember this, a lot of things will be resolved in itself. Okay. So first one is the cause, and then comes the context in which the problem space is, arriving at the insights of comprehension, then preparing a checklist, conceptualizing the idea, and then crafting that idea in terms of mock-up and prototypes, and then finally making the connection with the potential customers, the end users. Right. So it starts with the cause and it ends with the connection. So if you remember only these two aspects, that it starts with the cause, I mean, you start with D and you end it with the connection A, then probably if you see, this is option C, starting with the cause and ending with the connection. Okay. So since we do not have any other options which have D and A in this order, probably it will be very quick to respond to this question. However, there might be a case wherein you have option A and then something which is jumbled here, then probably you'll need to go for this entire sequence of cause, context, comprehension, checklist, conceptualization, crafting, and then correction. So as of now, the correct answer is option C, starting with the cause and ending with the correction, as rightly said by Mr. Gokhale. Very well done, sir. Okay. Now comes our sixth question. What was the cause for redesigning the India Post letterbox in Lecture 3 Methodology of Innovation? The options are to design a futuristic letterbox, to design a spherical letterbox, to design a letterbox which becomes a sensation in India, and to design a maintenance free letterbox. So these are the options. You have to tell us what is the cause of redesigning the Indian letterbox, India Post letterbox. तो आपको बताना है कि what was the cause of redesigning the India Post letterbox? Was it about making it futuristic, which is भविष्यवादी, या फिर इसको हमें गोलाकार बनाना था, spherical, या फिर इसको हमें एक सेंसेशन बनाना था, एक ज्वलंत, और या फिर हमें इसको मेंटेनेंस फ्री बनाना था जिसमें हमें ज्यादा मेंटेनेंस की जरूरत ना पड़े, सो रिड्यूस्ड मेंटेनेंस कॉस्ट इफ एनी. All right. So these are the options which you have. You have to tell us what is the correct answer. Whether it was about making it maintenance free, was it about making it futuristic, अत्याधुनिक भविष्यवादी, or about the shape into the aspect of making it spherical, or making it a sensational design so that लोग देखे और बोले वाह क्या क्या चीज है, this is something very new. So you've got one vote for option D as of now. All right. Let us do a screen validation. Okay. So what you see here is the two examples of the letterbox. The cause is to make maintenance-free letterbox for India Post, as it has been rightly said. Now, can anyone tell me how the design proceeded from this beak-shaped to a spherical design? Anyone from the learners who would want to tell how the shape got transformed from a beak-shaped design to a spherical head design? Anyone? So what I'm referring to is this one. This is a beak-shaped, similar to that of a bird's beak, and this is a spherical shaped. Spherical shape. And then you have the base at which the concreting will be done, and it will be stuck to there. And this is basically the locks, the lock. And what you see here are basically when will be the next opening time and things like that. Basic details are like. Okay, so probably we'll have a dedicated video later, probably in the course, wherein we'll be venturing into this particular aspect. But just for your information, uh, this thing had a steel finish. Okay. So when they did the trials of it, when the 200 pieces were scattered across India in urban areas and rural areas, the people in the rural areas, they identified it as a dustbin. It's very critical insight because of the finish. The dustbin were having those finish and they thought that this is a new design of a dustbin. All right. And that's where the critical comment came in, that the user testing was not done in all the areas. Ideally, it should have been done for urban and rural both, but they had did only it for the urban sector and they were very excited about it. And so that they proceeded with the design. But that is very, very critical because India Post is something which is primarily used by the rural sector because of the advent of technology and whatsoever you are saying the urban areas, right? So then they came back to the this particular design, which is having a spherical head, which is more, having the red color in it, so that it depicts the postcards. So the correct answer is, as rightly said, it is. Let me show the color of it to design a maintenance-free letterbox. Right. Let's come to our seventh question. What did Trivikram Annamalai, the designer of Vein Tracer, do to gain empathy for the cause as shown in the lecture 3 Methodology of Innovation? He visited blood banks without planning on a product. He conducted a survey and decided to solve the problem. He role played the scenario in his head and came up with a problem to solve. And he visited several blood banks and decided to solve the problems faced by the nurses. Okay, we are talking about Mr. Trivikram, who is again from IIT Bombay, and he's also an awardee, like I mentioned, president awardee, and it is Annamalai. Annamalai. Okay, so there is an A. It says my mistake. There's an A here, and he is the designer of the vein tracer. So the question is, what is it? What is the activity he did to gain empathy for the cause, as shown in lecture 3? Did he visit the blood banks? यानी कि वो ब्लड बैंक्स गए थे विदाउट प्लानिंग, यानी कि उन्होंने प्रोडक्ट के बारे में नहीं सोचा था, एंड देन ही विजिटेड द ब्लड बैंक्स. He conducted a survey and decided to solve the problem. So probably he would have shared a survey form, a questionnaire survey with a lot of people, and then on the basis of responses he decided that, did he role play the scenario and came up with the problem, or he visited several blood banks and decided to solve the problem faced by the nurses. So take some time and let me know. You have to tell us what is it that was done by Mr. Trivikram to gain empathy for the cause as shown in the lecture Methodology for Innovation. Was it about visiting the blood bank without planning the product, or he conducted a survey to get an overall sense of what is the problem? Did he do the role play scenario, or he visited blood banks and decided to solve the problems which is faced by the nurses? You've got Two votes for option A. All right. Any other who would want to join in? Let's do the screen validation. So here comes the empathy head. Visited blood banks without planning on the product. And he thought that the blood donors should not be pricked several times to find the vein. Because these people are going to donate blood and then there are multiple pricks. Obviously, it is not a good experience. You are going there for a noble cause and then you are being pricked multiple number of times, right? So this is where you are trying to empathize. You are trying to fit yourself into the user's shoe to understand the challenges, the problems they are facing. Okay. So as you have rightly pointed out, it is option A, which is he visited the blood banks without planning a product first. As rightly said by two of our learners, very well done. So he did not thought about a product. He just went to the blood bank, saw what was happening. He tried to gain empathy of the people who are coming in to donate blood, and he saw that their veins were being triggered multiple number of times in order to find the vein, and that's where they came the idea of having a vein tracer, which was actually awarded and respected. So you can see how a basic observation can actually lead to a fantastic product and can actually create wonders. Right. Now comes your eighth question. In the Palki project, again where on the Vaishno Devi shrine. Vaishno Devi shrine. The check was to reduce the weight of Palki by. So now it's a matter of number. Numbers are really difficult to remember. Let's see how many of you can actually tell us about that. So the check was to reduce the weight of Palki by first 20 to 30%, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, or 50 to 60. You need to tell us what was the check in terms of Palki project at the Vaishno Devi Shrine in Katra. So if you remember and recall, there was a Palki which has to be carried uh, by the people to the shrine. All right. You need to tell us the reduction in weight. What was the amount that was planned while designing the weight reduction in terms of percentage? Why do you think it was heavy at the first place? Why do you think the palki was so heavy? Maybe I've done a bit of sketching here. I'll just try to rectify it. Uh, Correct. We have got one vote for option D. All right. Let's see if there are another vote. We have got one vote for B. So these four are the porters, and this is the traveler. Yeah, three. So can anyone tell why was the weight a critical problem? What was happening in the existing design which was causing a lot of weight? Anybody who would want to write or just speak up? Why was the need of reducing the weight? Why was it heavy? Because it was using GI pipes, galvanized iron pipes it was using, and these pipes are basically used for plumbing. So they were welding it, they were using it, they were bending it. It was not a very great aspect, but they were using whatever material they were easily able to access. So these are GI pipes are basically used for plumbing, plumbing activities where the water can flow from these pipes, and they were using these pipes in order to make the bulky. So, and these pipes with a huge cross section were very heavy, and that is where this huge load was coming in. So it's important to understand the context of why this check was first in order introduced in the design process. So the weight of the bulky should be reduced by 30 to 40%. And if you see what I was referring to is this. These pipes which you see are GI pipes, galvanized iron pipes. These are very heavy as compared to what was proposed in the new design. Right? And then this is the part where the wood is there, okay? So this thing was galvanized iron and it was causing basically the weight was coming because of this pipe, okay? You see it as an imaginary line, but you go up till here, right? And these are the four porters and this guy, the traveler. Okay, so the check was to reduce the weight by 30 to 40%. So one of you have rightly pointed out it was to reduce the weight by 30 to 40%, which is option number B. Now let's go to our second last question. In the lecture 3 methodology for innovation, what does Chakku's second C, which is the context mean? Okay. There are overall seven C's, the seven concerns. Okay. It starts with the cause and ends with the connection. Remember, you need to tell us what about the second C, which is the context. Is it about understanding the user's perspective? Is it about understanding the tools used by the users? Understanding the dialect of the users? या फिर understanding the problem space and the environment? We are trying to refer to the second C, which is the context. What do we mean by the second C? Right? Just try to recall what you have studied. Comprehension, check, connection, context, cause. Here we are talking about context and what do we mean by it? Was it about understanding users' perspective or understanding the tools used by the designers or understanding the dialect of the users or lastly understanding the problem space and the environment? Just get a glass of water, and meanwhile, please try to attempt this question. But one vote for option D. All right, let's see if there are any other paid voting there. We've got one more vote. So for second C, which is the context, we have got two votes. Interesting. Just give me a minute and I'll do the correct answer with the screen validation. Just needs a minute. Right. Let's start once again. So for the second C, we have got four choices, and the one which has been voted most is option D, which is understanding the problem space. So environment, and let's see the screen validation, the context, understanding the problem space and the environment. It is very, very critical. In fact, we may do a number of lectures on the context, but when we finally arrive and go to context, we are making it very, very wide. We do not understand the problem space that much. Okay. So what you have rightly pointed out, the correct answer is option D, which is understanding the problem space environment. I hope my voice is audible and my screen is visible. All right. Now let's reach to our last question for this set of 10 questions. Who was the water filter bottle designed for in the lecture 3 methodology for innovation? The options given to you are CRPF jawans, adventure camping enthusiasts, motorcycle riders, and marathon runners. It's one of the direct questions. You don't need to think much about it. If you've gone through the video content, or even if you have gone through the uh, content recap which we offer, it will be very, very direct in order to respond to this question. Who was the water filter bottle designed for in the lecture 3 methodology for innovation? Was it CRPF jawans? Was it adventure camping enthusiasts, motorcycle riders, or marathon runners? But one vote for option A. Let's see if there is anyone else who would want to vote for this particular question. Water filter bottle designed for whom? The Central Reserve Police Force, adventure camping enthusiasts, people basically who go for trek, nature lovers, motorcycle riders, they also go for offbeat destinations. They might also need water, sources of water, or the marathon runners who go for large number of kilometers continuous running. All right. You need to tell who was the water filter bottle designed for? Take a minute and then we'll go to the screen validation and see the correct answers. All right, let's see the screen validation. It was for the CRPF Jawans, and you can see CRPF Jawans have come and meeting with the design team at IDC. There is Professor Chakravarti sir, and all these people are from the CRPF. Okay, because if you see the other options, I mean marathon runners, if you see they get water bottles, right? Even if they are running, there will be a table, and then you will get a lot of bottles there. You would have seen in the videos. Yes, and motorcycle riders, you don't need because you usually carry them. And likewise, the adventure camping enthusiast, yes, they also carry water bottles. But for CRPF Jawans, it is critical because they go for missions where the day and the number of days are not fixed, right? So there is this probability of extending the mission depending upon their mission requirement. Here, in such cases, everything is fixed. Usually, that you will be staying there for 2 days, 3 days, or maximum 4 days. But here in this case, even if they carry some source of water, because the mission details are classified, the mission requirements frequently change depending upon where you are. You need to make a decision either to camp for 1 day or for 15 days, and that is where there is a need of having the water filter bottle. Okay, so even if you have not gone through the content, if you apply some logic to it, you will be able to figure out what the correct answer is. And rightly said by our participants, correct answer is A, which is the CRPF Jawans. Very well done. So with that, we conclude the session. The questions of discussion forum are being resolved in that platform is in itself. I'll just show you how and where it is being responded to. With that, we conclude our session for today. I'll quickly get back to a link there. So thank you all for being there. Thank you for joining in. And we have been a great participants and we have been able to engage in the questions, respond to the questions and participate in all these sessions, especially the questions. So very much thankful to all of you. I'll quickly show you where you can access the various tabs to it. Okay, so just give me a minute. I'll share my screen once again. And if possible, I'll try to open it up, the SWAM portal, and should be able to show you some of the basic tabs so that it is critical for you to log in and attempt those things from there and even to utilize the various resources which are already present in the SWAM portal. So the moment you log in, you will go to the My Screen, the My Courses. Under My Courses, you'll go to the Understanding Incubation and Entrepreneurship. Right. Correct. So now if you see there is week 1 to week 4, all these things are available. In week 3, if you go to the quiz, here the quizzes needs to be completed by 13th of August. The deadline is already there. And like I was saying, once the deadline is over, you should be able to see the correct answers of the questions. So like week 1 deadline was over on 6th of August, and you can see the correct answers are also shown. So even if you have got an incorrect answer, you can please revert back and see what the correct answers are so that you can prepare well for your final exam. Right. I was referring to the discussion forum. If you click on Q&A, it will lead you to a Google Groups page. And if you can see, these are the questions like, for example, how to define the product. Uh, you can see the responses are being given. So, Joseph is handling the response to the discussion forum, and I'm thankful to him. Let's see what has been written. As mentioned by their startup kept looking continually for ways to modify the product better suit the market and isolate market segment. their product will be most desirable from a point of view of revenue generation. In this case, where the product was a scientific developed or particular what about startup where the product is it's always a tangible identity. For example, it comes sample of you should start to be flexible. So you can see, I mean, all the questions are being responded to. If you post a question here, it will be responded as quickly as possible. Thanks to Vinod for responding to these questions. And like I said, all these sessions are being recorded. So if you click here, you'll be able to see this link. And here I'll update a few things. And for week 3, these will be uploaded very soon, probably in next 1 hour or so. Uh, with the details of today's session, including the YouTube, the PDF, and these basic details, everything will be available to you. Right. And this is a survey. If you are taking part in problem solving sessions, it would be good if you can please share a feedback to us in terms of understanding what is required, what are the areas where we can improve upon, and it will be helpful for us. Right. So with that, I think we conclude the session for today. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for joining in today and being there, being such a sport in terms of responding to the questions, participating in the set of 10 questions, and making the session a little more engaging. Okay. So thank you so much. See you next week. Bye bye. So the timings are 3 to 5. I see a couple of you joining in right now. Ideally, the time is it starts at 3 p.m. and it ends by 5 p.m. It's a 2 hour thing, and all these details are given to you in your email IDs as well. And I think all of you are aware when these sessions are being conducted. With the conduct of each and every session, probably a day prior or a couple of days back, you get an email from the NPTEL that the session will be conducted on this very date, on this very time. Okay. So I would request you to be very watchful of these timings and make the most of these sessions. Thank you. Namaste. Have a good day. So what we'll do now is that we'll quickly save this presentation. Uh, what we'll do is we'll first save uh, the first image is basically used in order to the cover page that we need JPG, and then we make a PDF out of it because that's get uploaded to the drive link. The page, yes, this is it. Some basic details you will just quickly replicate. Right. We'll open up this link and we'll try to upload the V3. That we'll conclude the session and stop recording now. Thank you so much for being there.